So it looks like opportunity just might be smiling at us again. Back before the economy collapsed and I had 45 different service accounts, one of which was a fellow with a large 250-gallon tank that was built into the wall, divided his conference room from his office. Well, when the economy went to hell, he ended up having to close down that business. And just last week we got a telephone call from him, which was good to hear from him again. Even better to hear that his business is starting to pick back up. And even better yet, he wants to set up a new office, and he wants to put the tank back up again. Well, that's great news. I could certainly use another service in the fold of accounts I have. So what we need to do is go out and take a look at the location, and then need to somehow get his old tank over here so that we can go ahead and polish and buff it out and make it look like brand new. So come along with us as we hopefully pick up a new account. Welcome back to LA Fishguys, episode 105, One Step Forward. We've got a former service customer who's going to set his tank back up. It's a big tank, 70 inches long, 18 inches wide, 40 inches tall. Notice it has an external overflow on it, and we're going to be using our friend Condi to polish out the tank before we build it back into the wall. Condi's brought along his friend Jerry, and together they're going to start by cleaning the inside of the tank free of any granules of gravel or debris. Those granules would cause a problem if they got caught up in the buffing wheel or the sanding pad. So again, they want to start with a clean pallet. Make sure it's free of all the debris inside the tank. And with the debris removed from the inside of the tank, the next step will be to take a soft pad and go through and wipe down the inside of the aquarium. This allows them to more clearly define the area that they need to work on. Our goal here today is twofold. One, we want to polish the entire tank to make sure that all those viewing panels are clear. And two, we want to address the scratches that are in the aquarium. Those scratches will categorize into two areas. One will be the light to medium surface scratches, and the other will be the deep, big gouge scratches that we really need to work real hard on. In combination with water, we're going to go ahead and use wet-dry type sandpaper. We'll use a 1500 grit wet-dry sandpaper for the light scratches and dealing with the surfaces. And we'll use an 800 to 1000 grit sandpaper to try to deal with the deeper, big gouges in the tank. And once they've addressed the medium to deep scratches, it's then time to try to polish out the surface. Condi will use a buffing wheel to do this. This buffing wheel is the same thing you might use on polishing out a car. It's got a pad on the end of a spinning wheel, and in conjunction with some heavy-duty polishing compound, Condi will be able to polish out the surface of the aquarium, whether it be on the inside or on the outside. The big advantage of using the buffing wheel is twofold. One, it's a whole lot easier on your arms than trying to do it manually. And two, you can get a much more consistent result by using a larger buffing wheel as opposed to individual hand strokes.
And with the outside of one panel and the inside of the opposing panel finished, we'll go ahead and look for any mistakes or scratches that we've missed and readdress those. I do have to say though, I'm sure happy to be able to pick up a new service account. That's a real shot in the arm. Tropical Fish Hobbyist Magazine has been the authoritative source for aquarium keepers since the first legendary issue rolled off the presses in 1952. With informative articles month after month about the fascinating world of freshwater aquariums, saltwater setups, paludariums, ponds, and more, illustrated in crisp detail by the world's top aquatic photographers. TFH covers it all. And now, with subscriptions starting at $13.95 and a mobile digital edition you can take with you wherever you go, TFH is your ultimate resource for all things aquatic.
Hi, my name's Jim Stime. I'm the LA Fish Guy. I wanted to let you know about a new site I found called Aquarium.
They have everything you need for your aquarium, from equipment to live fish. It's easy to use and intuitive. Membership is free and you can buy and sell anything to do with fish in a secure environment. Finding what you want is easy. They have some great search capabilities and the directory has businesses from all over the country. If you sell a fish and need shipping help, they offer great advice. If you would rather have a professional like me help with shipping or even weekly aquarium service, you can find us in the service listings.
And speaking of service reminds me of my customer, Scott.
During a recent service visit, he showed me his Flamingi tang that's outgrown the tank. He needed to move him out but didn't know how. I told him about Aquaria. He joined up and is finding him a new home. Now he's hunting on Aquaria to find a new tang. There's one now. I bet you Scott's gonna buy it.
Guys, Aquaria is a great resource. Join for free and connect with people all over the country that share your passion. Find great deals from aquarium stores and locate certified service to help you out. Do yourself a favor. Check out Aquaria.
Does your aquarium have an algae problem? Do long green strands of algae grow all over everything? Is red not the color you wanted your rocks and gravel to be? Then you should consider the Santa Monica Algae Scrubber. This unit is designed to be placed above the aquarium or straddling the sump or wet-dry trickle filter below the aquarium. The Santa Monica Algae Scrubber uses two light enclosures placed on either side of a specially designed acrylic body to grow algae on a screen suspended from a spray rod inside the unit. That screen quickly and naturally grows its own algae, which in turn is scraped off on a weekly basis. If you want your fish or reef aquarium back, the Santa Monica Algae Scrubber is the solution. Visit santa-monica.cc for more information.
So we had just flipped the tank over, having polished the outside of one side of the tank and the inside of one side of the tank. And again, had flipped it over so that we could polish the inside of the opposite end of the tank, as well as the opposite outside end of the tank. And I was standing there talking to Condi, and I happened to be looking down at the tank and was kind of looking through the thickness of the panel, and I noticed what appeared to be like a crack on the inside of glass or something, or an ice cube, something like that. And I said, "What's that?" And we started to look at it, and lo and behold, turns out there's a crack that's starting to work its way through the acrylic panel. It's not all the way through, and the only reason you can see it is you look through the end of the panel here. Now the first thing you might think is somehow that occurred as a result of the polishing.
So what did you do to the tank, Jim? Why is it broken?
Maybe when it got flipped over, it got dropped.
Why is it broken, huh?
Or bumped.
What'd you do to the tank?
Or something.
So what did you do to the tank? Why is it broken, huh?
To the best of my knowledge, that didn't occur, at least while I was watching the polishing job occur.
So what did you do to the tank, Jim? Why is it broken?
And Condi, I'm sure, would have fessed up to something like that had he done it.
What'd you do to the tank? Why is it broken?
Is it something that occurred as a result of just the acrylic itself being stressed? Here's something I want to show you.
Not only can you see that crack working its way through the acrylic panel itself, it's about halfway through at the moment, but if you look a little further down here, I don't know if I can see it through the viewfinder or not, there appears to be another crack in the developing stages. I think that's it right there. Just in the developing stages, more of a horizontal crack. And then, turns out if you look way on the far other side, and again I don't know if you can see this, there appears to be another crack developing inside there, and I'm wondering if these are not necessarily structural cracks, but the results of some unhappiness between chemicals or glues or something used. Because way back a couple of years ago, this tank, which has an external overflow, was featured in one of the episodes about repairing the tank, and the repair ended up being the introduction of a bunch of epoxy placed down at the bottom of the overflow, because essentially what's happening is an overflow box typically is inside the aquarium, and if there's any leaks in the seam, well, then the water is contained inside the aquarium. Ultimately it can be a problem, but once again, the leaks are contained inside the aquarium. This is an external overflow. It's on the outside of the tank, and so as this thicker acrylic panel bows, that may have an effect on these seams. And again, you can see where we have attempted to repair it previously with silicone and two-part epoxy, and once again there was some really special epoxy that was put at the bottom of this, and if you look through the thickness of the panels, it's quite possible that epoxy is having some bad chemical reaction. And
so not feeling real comfortable with finishing the polishing job at this point, because with a fracture on the inside of the acrylic panel, it could be a waste of time polishing out the outside panels.
As you can see, this side, the inside was polished out. It just needed the outer face of it, but it was looking brand new. Sorry to say we couldn't get it, back again. Sorry, Jim.
So I ended up calling the owner of the tank, and I said, we're a little more than halfway, about 3/4 of the way done polishing the tank, but in the process we've discovered there's a crack in there. And knowing from a previous conversation, the wall that's going to be built to hold this tank is right next to a room that holds servers for computers and such, and even though it's all on the ground floor, you just don't want that water coming in proximity with all that expensive server equipment. So I thought it was appropriate to make him aware of that and let him make the decision as to, do we incur another $100 to finish polishing the tank, or do we save that $100 and just stop at the moment? He has decided to stop at the moment, and what we're going to do is we'll have our tank manufacturer come pick up this tank next week, bring it back to their facility, have them determine if this tank can be repaired, and possibly what caused that, so we can avoid that problem once again. So option number one is to try to have the tank repaired. Option number two, and it all depends on where your motivation is coming from. My motivation is I have a former customer who wants to set his tank back up again, and that would result in the beginning at least, weekly aquarium service, so that could be another $500 a month just in aquarium service, and that's my incentive, is I want that service fee. That extra money would help things out, make things a little bit easier or smoother in these tough economic times. And so there's the option of selling him a new tank. Of course, this could be a $5,000 tank, but here's where you got to stop and be the business person. You could say, okay, it's $5,000 to buy the tank, and that just may blow the whole deal right there, because as he was thinking, he's already got the tank, he just needs to spend the money to have it set up and jump right into maintenance. Now, in addition to building out this wall, which he's already indicated there's going to be a delay when the tank will be set up simply due to the fact that they've gone over budget on building out this office they're going to be putting in there. So anyhow, make a long story short, what I've decided is to offer him a replacement tank as an option, a brand new tank, at my cost. I make no money there, but I do get the chance to give the customer a good deal, and he gets not only a new tank, but a safer tank, and ultimately I get that service, which is what I was hoping to get in the beginning. So we'll have this tank picked up, we'll have the manufacturer look at it, determine if it's something that can be repaired or if it has to be replaced, and I guess as in all the other cases, this is certainly one of those situations where you do the right things to keep moving forward. Just keep things going. So keep you posted on how this turns out.
Sorry to say this project is terminated for now. We will update you guys at a further time. Please come back again. LA Fishguys. What did you do to the tank, Jim? Why is it broken?
We're here in Des Moines, Iowa. We're here to attend the 23rd Annual Marine Aquarium Conference. We're going to have exhibitors, we're going to have attendees, we're going to have speakers that we want to show you a MACNA experience. MACNA experience. The MACNA experience. So come along with us. So come along with us. So come along with us.
As episode 106 showcases some of the MACNA speakers,
The LA Fish Guy.
Sanjay.
The more expensive skimmer has to be better.
Boy, it's so great to come back to these conferences.
there's also a huge number of exhibitors.
This year we have over 200 booths.
Hi, welcome to MACNA.
We're here with Russ of CPR Aquatics. So there's a plethora of different products here for hobbyists to select from. We're here with Rod of Rod's Food.
1,000 to 1,500 people come through.
We're here with some of the attendees from the MACNA conference. We've got one here from the West Coast and a couple from the East Coast.
3-day event, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
It's basically the annual reunion of fish geeks across the U.S. and the world.
Yes. They've traveled here from Trinidad. This is another product you're probably familiar with. One of the really big exhibitors here at the MACNA is Dr. Foster and Smith.
And did I mention the number of booths selling coral frags?
First class event all the way around.
So be sure to keep an eye out for episode 106, the MACNA Experience.
So what did you do to the tank, Jim? Why is it broken?